Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time once again. And we're here before arguably the biggest event of the year. Forget about WrestleMania. Forget about anything AEW's put together, Double or Nothing. This is going to be the event of the year. It is WrestleMania for the LWF with a Hollywood twist. It is Slamaganza 3. It's coming up here this Saturday. It'll be 6 o'clock UK time, 1 o'clock our time is when the doors open. First match will start 6:30, which is 18:30 for those in the UK. And I could not think of a better way than to get ready here on Sportswire Radio for the LWF Slamaganza in his regular spot here. It's his fourth appearance, and it only gets better and better each and every time. He is one of the best in the business when it comes to calling these things, and he'll be on the call this Saturday for the LWF Slamaganza. And without further ado, here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show commentator here for the LWF, and that's Mikey Fitzgerald. My friend, welcome back.
Thank you. I deserve that.
Well,
how you doing, Vicky? You all right?
I did so many of these Thursday and Friday between Odyssey Pro Wrestling's War on the Shore event and obviously the returns of the Asset Stephen Cross and Wildfire Nate Reese that I was surprised my voice was going to be able to hold up and do one for you as well. And I was even told by the unforgettable Andre Decker of all people that it actually wasn't a bad intro. So it seems like we're getting good at these. So even if I can get like the likes of Andre Decker to like him, that means we're certainly doing well. But I'm happy to have you here, my friend, because there is a lot to talk about here in the LWF. And we're always excited to speak about the LWF each and every week here on Sportswire Radio. But this, I think, is a little bit extra special here because Slamaganza is the biggest event of the year. We've got so many matches to run through here. We'll get through all of them, I'm sure. But I want for those who are watching and listening to this on sportnarrative.com/player and watching on all the different outlets, including Linda McMcGrath's Northeast Streaming Sports Channel on Roku, talk to me about Slamaganza and how it all started and what does it mean to you and the rest of the company.
Well, Slamaganza was it was, I guess, trying to think of the best way. It was kind of like the birth child of our owner, Steve Bibby. Like Slamaganza was always like his dream, like the big event. And as you can see, we've done 3 of them now, and it's always, as you said in your intro, it's kind of like our WrestleMania. It's kind of like, I always like to think that like Slamaganza is kind of like our WrestleMania. Summer Smash is kind of like our Summer Slam, and then Fight Me Before Christmas is kind of like our Starcade. So that's kind of like how we sort of like structure the year in a lot of ways. And obviously the Lancashire Riots kind of like our Royal Rumble show. So though I guess if there was going to be a big 4 in the LWF, it'd be those shows. So Slamaganza is one of the big 4. As I say, it's the brainchild of Steve Bibby. And it's been traditionally where we've had some of our biggest moments, some of our biggest shows. And this year will be no different because we've got a really stacked card. It's one of the most stacked cards we've ever had, really. I think every match has some sort of storyline built into it or has some sort of backstory or some sort of reason for happening. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think it's going to be, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it's going to end up being a great show and everyone's going to have a lot of fun. And I'm going to have a lot of fun calling it, hopefully.
I think you'll have a lot of fun for sure, and we're very, very excited to be speaking about the LWF's upcoming Slamaganza. So I almost have to ask you as a follow-up, I mean, do you feel extra pressure working on Slamaganza? I mean, obviously we've spoken about so many different LWF events here since you guys have come back since COVID, but do you feel like a little more pressure to work on this one, maybe more so than even ones like, let's say, the Fight Man for Christmas or Marching On or anything else like that?
No, not really, because I think I treat every show like it's important. So to me, there isn't any sort of like show where I'm not going to be like, it's January, I'll take it easy. Like every show for me is like a big deal, and they're always stressful days as well, long stressful days. I'm usually one of the first people to get there. I'm usually one of the last to leave. It's you put everything into it. And this one, obviously, this show's going to be at the Chorley Town Hall, So we're not going to be in Buckshaw this time. Buckshaw had a prior commitment. So we're going to Chorley Town Hall, which we were last at for Fight Before Christmas. And it's a lovely venue. People who work there were people who work there are very kind. Last time we had the mayor there last time. So the mayor and the mayoress, I think, came to the show. So that was quite a treat for me. Mr. Unsworth, I believe, is the mayor of Chorley. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that was really really impressive for me, and great to be coming back. But no, there's no additional pressure, I suppose. I think every show has got pressure attached to it. I think in some ways my job is weirdly a bit easier because every match can almost speak for itself. Like there are some absolutely tremendous matches on this card, and I tend to find that when there's a big match, you kind of just go with the flow and just try and sort of basically what you're trying to do as the commentator is you're trying to get the storyline over, get the wrestlers over, but also try and convey the atmosphere to the people sitting at home who can't be there. And when you've got a great match going on, the crowd's going nuts, it's always easy just to go, look at what's happening. Usually it involves me yelling louder and louder in order to try and
between you and T Bibby, obviously Mr. Bibby, I mean the yelling is going to be through the roof to say the least coming out.
Yeah,
this Saturday.
And we're gonna have some guest commentators as well. We've been past since I think might have been December when we had Melanie Price sitting in with us. Since that, we've usually had
Melanie Price.
We've usually had a couple of people per show on it. So we've had like Kelly Van Ness sat in commentary. We had Stacey Rose in the last show. Harley Hudson's done some commentary with us. There's other people who've done it as well, and I feel like I'm insulting them now.
Nate Reese, I know he's going to have a match, and we'll get to it. He would have been an excellent candidate for commentating at some point because if anybody knows Wildfire Nate Reese like we do, he can talk the socks off of anything. I mean, so one day, and I know he's very busy. We'll get to him in a little while, but I mean, Nate Reese would make a perfect commentator.
Yeah, well, he likes the sound of his own voice, doesn't he? Does old Nathaniel?
I'm pleading the fifth on that because I'm going to be speaking with him in a few days, so I'm pleading the fifth on that one. So I don't need. I think
it's funny. Funny thing is like Nate used to be. I mean, I remember when I was first starting training, probably 2008. Like Nate would do promos like in training, but he'd never really get a chance to do one on a show. And at the time, he was being like a sort of traditional sort of babyface character and trying to be fired up and stuff. But ever since he's started doing this new role, this new character, he's just been he can chat away like anything. He's great. Like his promos are great. We'll sit there and I'll just like go, and 2 minutes later he's done a promo, and it's just like. It's amazing. It's just he just hits all the beats.
No, he's one of the best talkers, and I have to say
this character, this sort of character change for him has been completely reinvigorated him, really. And I think he seems to be, whenever I'm at shows and I see him about, I think he seems more fired up, and I think he seems more sort of like energized by it. And obviously, he's had this great opportunity now. He's in this big feature match on the show that a lot of people are talking about, and he's earned that really, because ever since last year is when this storyline of his eventual turn to the dark side began, and he's been great every step of the way. He really has, and I can't wait for this match. I think this match is going to have it might be one of those heated matches we've ever had. Like the crowd are going to be because it's lucha de apuestas, so it's
I'm glad you said it rather than me, because I would have had such a hard time butchering it. Because
I wanted to just say let's call it lucha de apuestas, because that's what it is. For those who don't know what lucha de apuestas is, in Mexico they call wrestling lucha libre, which translates roughly, I think, to free fighting. I think, doesn't it? Is it free fighting roughly?
I wasn't good in Spanish class, so I'm going to take your word on it.
But in a match, when you have like hair versus hair or mask versus hair or mask versus mask, they call it lucha de apuestas, which I think roughly translates to betting match. So like you're putting something on the line. So in this tag team match, the match is going to be Bob Costin teaming up with Kelly Van Ness to take on Nate Reese and Tonga, and the loser of the fall has to lose their hair. So it's a betting match. They're betting their hair. So it's lucha de apuestas. And I said to Steve, can we call it that? And he was going like, and I think he just thought, probably people aren't going to know what that means. So no. And we're not a Lucha Libre company, but I was like, I'm going to be calling it that constantly, because I just like to be different. I like to be difficult, Reverend. You know this about me. So
I'm going to plead the fifth on the difficult part. And I want to give a shout out, obviously, to a very, very dear friend of Sportswire Radio, of course, Anthony Finkel, who tuned in and says, Slamaganza. Yep. If he's back once in the house, we'll have a plug for him later on. And he has Slamaganza, amazing name. Love it. That's why we love the LWF here, of course, because obviously.
Is this the guy? Is this the guy who fixes things and stuff? Is he like the roofer
correct.
and stuff?
That's him.
Yes. Oh, I remember him from last time. Oh, Finster.
We have on our Friday show in America, New York, which I play. We also play on a radio station in North Carolina. We run a plug every segment for that particular business. So we try to get.
What's the business called? I'll make up a jingle on the fly. What's it called, sir?
DPH Property Service.
DPH Property Service. They're really good. So says I. You can use that one.
He's actually
Think you can have that one for free.
He has a musical ear because he's actually a bass guitarist, so he probably could put. Yes, he does. He plays the bass.
Is that because he can only handle 4 strings and not 6? Is that why?
Well, he's a very accomplished musician.
Sorry, I stole it. That's a Frank side bottom line.
We've played here on the radio, so I'm sure we'll have a thought or two on that once he hears that, if he's still listening. So we'll definitely give him a shout out, and I definitely will speak a lot about Wildfire Nate Reese in that match, because I have a number of thoughts, but I kind of want to save that because that's the match that's one of the most curious ones here that we'll speak about for sure, no doubt. But I want to kick things off and speak about the World Championship match, and that is obviously our reigning defending champion, our head of the table, our top of the table. That is, of course, Reynaldo, and Reynaldo returns once again here at Slamaganza against Sono Dursun, and Sono Dursun is our number 1 contender. And this is a match, and I know we've had a number of world title matches in the LWF's history, but when I think about star power for an LWF World Championship match, or even a World Championship match in general here, Mikey Fitz, this might be one of the biggest World Championship matches that I can recall, certainly in the UK or all of professional wrestling. In LWF history, this could potentially rank as the biggest World Championship match that we've ever had. So no pressure, right? But set the tables for us on what we can expect here. Slamaganza, world title, I'm assuming main event here. Our current reigning defending champion, Reynaldo, against Sono Dursun.
Yeah, it will be the main event. They will be closing the show. I tell you what, ever since this match, it was back in February when Sono Dursun became number 1 contender, and we knew that he'd be wrestling Reynaldo at Slamaganza 3 on the 16th of April. And I have to say, I'm just fascinated to see what happens with it, because Ray's been wrestling for so long and Sono's so talented, and I just think that they will just go in there and have a great match. I just don't see how it can't be good. You know, like, the fans love Reynaldo so much, and I expect Sono Dursun will be getting his fair share of boos after walking out. After what happened on the last show where Reynaldo and Sono Dursun lost to the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. And Dan Evans got the pin on Reynaldo, so I'm sure he's going to be sniffing around the title picture. You know, let's face it, he's going for the tag titles on this show.
Dan Evans is everywhere. I mean, Evans, like, how many countries?
Just wrestled in Denmark recently.
And he had a birthday most recently. Also, I have to wish him a happy birthday.
I think he won a title in Denmark in a prison on his birthday. So that's that's the sort of jet set wild life he lives.
No, that has to be a first. I mean, I know Metallica famously shot Saint Anger in a correctional facility in San Francisco, but I can't think of a wrestler. Yeah, I can't think of a wrestler though winning a championship in a prison on their birthday, no less. I mean, that has to be a first.
So I think he's either the Danish singles champion or Danish tag champion. But either way, he's wrestling abroad, and he's did Brooklyn Brawler ever win a match, Donnie? Yes, he beat Triple H once. He beat Triple H.
I feel like he won more than one match after that, though. I feel like he won more than one match. Something tells me at a house show or something, the Brooklyn Brawler must have done. Well,
he was feuding with
the Red Rooster. He won a battle royal. That's it. The Brooklyn Brawler won a battle royal to get a number 1 contendership match against Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship, then WWF Championship in 1997 at Madison Square Garden. That's it. The Brooklyn Brawler won a battle royal. Why do I remember that? I have no idea, but I just
he was in the 80s. He was feuding with the Red Rooster, so I assume he must have picked up some wins that way. You know, if you can't beat the
Yeah.
Red Rooster in the opening match on a house show, then you're not going to get very far in your career, are you? You know, much love for Terry Taylor, but that wasn't the highlight of his career.
No,
But anyway,
not at all,
Reynaldo and
not at all.
Sonny Sorry,
No.
Donnie, you got me there. But yes, it's SmackDown in 2000, I believe. It's Kai and Tai and Brooklyn Brawler against Triple H, and Triple H ended up losing to the Brooklyn Brawler thanks to Chris Jericho. So I think it was June or July 2000. So
And I
it'll
think
be on.
right around that same time, he also took an L against the Godfather.
Did he? Well,
Yep.
there you go. So he's on like so that's on. If you live outside of America, it's WWE Network. If you live in America, it's on the Peacock.
Well,
So,
I'm fortunate that I actually get the network still. So actually, I'm fortunate because I have a way. I can't say it on the air, but
you have the same
do
way
have a
Scott
way.
Keith does, do you? Anyway, yeah.
maybe.
But yeah. So yeah, Sonny Durst and Reynaldo. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a cracking bout. I can't wait to handle the call on it. I've known Sonny now for a very long time. I was there when Sonny first started training. Very early on in his development. And even then, it's the cliche people say, "Oh, even then I knew he was going to be good." But even then, it's like, he had something about him, and he had he had a natural charisma. And now he's just getting better and better, and he's just such a great wrestler. He's going to be wrestling Eric Redbeard for Future Shot Wrestling soon. I think it's 23rd of April. He's going to get a chance to get revenge after what happened on Monday Night Raw when he wrestled Eric Redbeard. So he's in high demand. He's a superstar. He's been on Monday Night Raw. He's a genuine star. Reynaldo is, you always like to refer to me as the heart and soul of the LWF, but I think that's really Reynaldo, if we're being perfectly honest. The fans love him. He's always giving his best in the ring. I know that he's been doing his research. He's been watching footage of Sonny to try and put on the best match he can. And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see this match. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a cracker, and you're going to want to be there to see it. 16th of April, Chorley Town Hall, or the Chorley Dome, as Lachlan Sharp was referring to it as.
Well, we're going to get to Lachlan Sharp. We're going to definitely get to him as well. And, of course, I want everybody, as they can, to follow the LWF on all of their social media channels. Also, Instagram, the LWF Wrestling. Also, Twitter, LWF. Also, subscribe to the YouTube page. Also, Facebook page as well, because you also get content on YouTube. We also have a number of shows that we get sometimes that are exclusives from the LWF, like Monday Night Mutiny and all different things out there like that. So I want to make sure everybody subscribes to the LWF.
That's LWF Television on YouTube.
Okay.
So search LWF Television, and we're also on Powered 4 TV as well. So you
Powered
can sign
4
up there.
TV. I'm waiting for the day you guys do the Patreon like Odyssey Pro Wrestling does.
And we do have, I believe, one of the biggest matches we've ever done was Mosh Pit Mayhem.
Yep.
And that match is up for free on Powered 4 TV, I believe. So if you want to get a taste of the LWF, that's one of the craziest battles we've ever had. So you can watch that. And if you like that, then sign up and you can get some more.
Absolutely. Definitely do that as well. And again, cannot thank enough the LWF and especially the heart and soul, Mikey Fitzgerald, have given us another opportunity once again to continue to talk about the LWF here. And of course, the main event for the World Championship, that is Reynaldo, our current champion, who has been on the show here a few times in the past, of course, against the renowned Sonny Durst. So I want to ask you very quickly back onto the World Championship match here. I mean, who do you think the pressure's on here? Because I feel like with Reynaldo's run, ever since he took the title and he won it, obviously, from when it was vacated and he defeated Nick Cutter, I almost feel like that we're almost waiting for the moment for the shoe to drop. And not to say it's a Cinderella story with Reynaldo, but in a way it is. And we're almost waiting for that moment for the clock to strike midnight. Is this the moment here where the clock strikes midnight on Reynaldo's run here as LWF champion? Because Sonny Durst, he's probably the toughest opponent he's faced yet. I mean, we saw what happened at the last event. I mean, it would seem like this could be the moment.
Well, I'm sure Sonny Durst is going to want it to be. I think the Great Gonzalez and the Repo Man. Which one's Repo Man? Am I Demolition Smash, or is the Reverend Demolition Smash?
Whatever you want it to be. I mean, in fact, I think somewhere my brother has an autograph of like there was like an imposter demolition group. I'm pretty sure there was one year we had like a summer growing up in Brooklyn. We had a summer festival, I think, and they had wrestlers signing autographs. This was the peak of the Attitude Era. And I'm pretty sure my brother has a autograph of an imposter demolition tag team group. If I look through my basement, I'm sure I could find it. But that's certainly when I heard the demolition reference, that's what came to mind. I have no idea why.
Talking about demolition, Sonny Durson's going to want to demolish the dreams of the fans of the LWF by defeating Reynaldo. I mean, you're talking about could this be it for Reynaldo? I think Ray goes into every match now with one goal in mind to, fight his hardest and see what happens. I know that he's, winning that quest coming to an end at Fightmare for Christmas to finally become the LWF champion. But also at the same time, I don't think Ray's ready to give this title up anytime soon. This is, he's coming into Slamaganza as the champion and he wants to retain it. It's the scene of his greatest victory, the scene of his greatest triumph. It's Chorley Town Hall. And he's going to want to leave with the title still. And if anyone's capable of beating Sonny Durson, it's Reynaldo. So I think it's going to be, Sonny Durson thinks he's going to stroll in and just beat Reynaldo that easy for the LWF title. He's going to have a different thing to think about. I think it's going to be Reynaldo's got just as good a chance as anyone else of being the one to defeat Sonny Durson and, assert himself as, perhaps the greatest champion we've ever had in the LWF. This is his chance. This is his chance for his. This is his. To use a boxing phrase, this is his legacy fight. This is his legacy fight. And if he beats Sonny Durson, then he's gonna have that. He can say that for the rest of all time. So, I don't think he's going to turn into a pumpkin anytime soon. Let's just put it that way.
It's funny you brought that up because when we had on Reynaldo after he'd won the title from Nick Cutter, we had talked about the first title run. We had talked about the fact that it didn't end the way he had hoped. And right now he's been champion going on. This would be just about his 4th month as champion. So certainly he's got a chance here maybe to solidify himself permanently ingrained as somebody that was a world champion that could carry a company. Whereas that first run 10 years ago, just about over when he was the Future Shock world champion, obviously didn't end the way it hoped, and he didn't quite get another stab at it. So there is some of that there with the legacy. And we have another comment in here from Justin, Mr. J. Trivet. You mean Giant Gonzalez and Harvey Whippleman? LOL. I mean, yeah.
I assume that means I'm Harvey Whippleman, or I'm because I got glasses on. I assume.
I don't even want to think about that. And this is the first time I've heard a Giant Gonzalez reference.
Harvey Whippleman had a really deep. He had a really deep voice. I can't even do Harvey Whippleman's voice. It's like, shut up, I'm Harvey Whippleman.
Harvey Whippleman's claim to fame is that I believe he drove around an early rock, aka Dwayne Johnson, when he was in Memphis. I was actually watching something, and this is the second or third time this has come up on a Sportswire radio show, and Harvey Whippleman, I'm pretty sure, was like kind of the gopher for The Rock, aka Dwayne Johnson, when he was coming up, and he was in I guess it was Memphis for Jerry Lawler's promotion. This is back the USWA. That's it. It was the USWA right around 1995, 96. I'm pretty sure that Harvey Whippleman was kind of the guy responsible for getting the Rock around.
That's when he was downtown Bruno, wasn't he? Because he was basically Sid's but he was Sid's like childminder. In WCW, like in the 80s or 90s. So like, he usually got saddled with people.
And he was with Sid when he was Sid Justice for that little while there.
Yeah.
He turned
you got to make sure that, because Sid might see a softball field and decide he would rather do that than go to Raw. So you got to make sure you get him there.
Well, I could relate to that because we actually have a softball team that we sort of sponsor on Sportswire Radio. So I don't know if you're going to see me on the softball field, but we do sponsor we sort of sponsor a team. So I guess everybody likes softball in some way or another. We'll certainly see what happens here. When it comes to
softball, make the San Diego
I have to say, as a kid, one of my more favorite memories was actually watching a father's friend play softball. I think I somewhere still have the softball, and I still remember the field itself. And we have here a comment from somebody that's sort of related to somebody that's coming on here tomorrow night to speak about another wrestling company. And I'll save the teaser for that in a little while. And that comment comes from Alan. Is it Ridded or is it Righted? I apologize for any pronunciations. I think it's writ out. But he says here, Sonny Durson is a legend. Any match he walks into is going to be a cracker. Reynaldo is going to have to work hard and be a little lucky to keep that belt. That's exactly what I think. And that segues Mikey Fitz, because Reynaldo is going to need that 12th man more than ever. We've spoke about the 12th man against Jack Roberts. We spoke about it against Cutter. We spoke about it even in the tag match. But I could not agree more. In fact, that was my next point, was it Reynaldo's going to need the 12th man more than maybe he'll ever need it coming up this Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll be there for him. The popularity of Reynaldo is incredible. And it's fully deserved. I mean, you only need to be around Ray for 5 minutes to sort of realize
he's likable. He's very likable.
There are some people in life who are just good human beings, and Reynaldo's a good human being. You know what I mean? So
a great human being. I wouldn't say good. A great human being.
He's a great human being. Yeah, I undersold him. He's a great human being, and and that just comes across when he's out there. And I think that's why people gravitate to him. And it's always been the case with Ray. Ray was popular, back during his Future Shot days. People just like Ray. They gravitate to him. And I'm sure they'll be behind him. And it's funny because I don't know if it is Rideout. It's not spelt the same as Paul Rideout, who for any Evertonians will know scored the winner in the 1995 FA Cup final. But if it is Rideout or Ridout, I don't know. But Alan, shall we just say Alan? Al, our good pal Al, has made a good point. And I think he summed it up quite succinctly.
Like I said, I'm going to plead the fifth because I think Lance Rivera, we had him on Thursday, kind of chuckled at it, but there's somebody that Alan might know is coming on Tuesday to talk about another company. That's all I'm going to say here.
Cool.
So I'm sure we'll figure who that
good luck
might
to
be.
them.
Yep. So, I guess we'll find out. That's all I'll say. Stay tuned.
Right. Now, we mentioned it earlier. I think it's what I've seen get the most hype for. Shall we talk about this Lucha de Apuestas match whilst we're here?
You know what? I do want to talk about it because I know Wildfire Nate Reese is going to be listening to this eventually. And speaking of that match,
he's gonna be frantic preparing for this one.
He's going to be frantic, but it's funny.
Him his BFF Tonga.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the clip, so clearly you've heard us talk about that. His bestie, as he refers to Tonga, as his bestie. So that's an interesting relationship, to say the least, and we'll get into a lot of that for sure. But I've spoke about this with Wildfire Nate Reese. I've spoke about this with the Scenario Nathan Gunn. I've spoke about this with obviously the Acid Stephen Cross, and I'm trying to think of a match in recent memory in the British scene where we actually had a hair versus hair match, and especially a mixed tag one. And you would know this better than me and maybe more than anybody else. And this is such a unique match. In a lot of ways, I actually think that this might steal the show. This might be the most entertaining of all the matches. And we have a great card. We have a few more matches that we'll obviously get into here, Mikey Fitz. But this is like the most intrigued I've seen a match for in the LWF for quite a while, because we have four people. We have Wildfire Nate Reese, who's been on quite a run. He's certainly rejuvenated his career, to say the least, over the past few months. We have the It Girl, Kelly Van Ness, who I have said almost reminds me of Avril Lavigne. She is a cutie. She is somebody that's almost like our female version of Reynaldo.
I don't know. I don't know how Kelly would feel about that. I'll have to ask her about it.
Well, listen, I'd love to let her know. I'd love to have her come on and talk about it on the radio here. So certainly, if Miss Van Ness is available, we can certainly talk about that. As again,
buy you a ticket for the Van Ness Express. Is that what you want to do, Reverend? You want to buy a ticket for the Van Ness Express?
I'm a reverend, so I'm going to plead the fifth on some of those things that might be related to that, because we are a family show on Sportswire Radio. But I will.
That's not what I meant. Get your mind out the gutter. You're supposed to be a man of God here. Come on.
And I actually exactly why I said that. But I will say that Miss Van Ness does remind me, in terms of her star power and charisma, very much like an early Avril Lavigne. So she's definitely got that. She is definitely a cutie.
I'll have to ask her how she feels about that. She might take it as a compliment, or I'm sure she will. Who doesn't like Avril Lavigne? Come on now.
If you're somebody between the ages, I guess, of 28 and 35, you grew up between 2000 and like 2005, your childhood or your adolescent years were dominated by Avril Lavigne. So I highly doubt that Miss Van Ness would not like that compliment and not like that comparison. So I am looking forward to hopefully that being related to Miss Van Ness, and we can talk about that live here on Sportswire Radio. And the other two components to this match are Tonga, who is, again, I mean, she's all over the place. She is definitely a superstar in itself, and I'm sure most people would be obsessed with her. To cue the Mariah Carey name, kind of two polar opposites there: Avril Lavigne and Mariah Carey, right? And of course, a frequent mention here to Sportswire Radio and a frequent target from Wildfire Nate Reese, and maybe even of late of the Acid Stephen Cross. That is Bob Costin. So I mean, what do you think here? This is such an intriguing match. If somebody has to get their head shaved, I mean, what do you think happens here?
Oh, I don't know, and that's why it's like you say. This is. I don't think this is a stipulation you see a lot in British wrestling. I know there are lucha companies in Britain. There's Lucha Britannia, who I think that's Darren Burridge's company, which is down south. So I'm sure they've done Lucha de Apuestas at some point, because they are Lucha Britannia. But elsewhere, I don't think it's a stipulation you see a lot, and I think I could just see when the match got announced. You see people like doing photos of like what everyone like photoshops what people would look each competitor in the match would look like if they were bald and stuff. It really seemed to catch people's imagination.
Except Wildfire Nate Reese's, because they're really
Well, God, don't be mean to poor Nathaniel. But yeah, no, like, but like again, it's a stipulation that you just don't see a lot, and I think it's fun that we're able to do it. Obviously, it's going to be a very intense, very heated match because no one's going to want to lose their hair. So it's good. That's going to be it's going to be probably the most dramatic match we've ever done. Like, there's going to be drama.
Yeah, I really think this is the most intriguing match that's on the card, and one of the more intriguing ones that you guys have ever done.
Yeah,
I could not agree with you more.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a match that I think people are going to remember just because it's so rare that like someone loses their hair on a British show. Alan Riddell. What's Alan want this time? Who would be your ultimate hair versus hair match?
Any era.
Ooh, I don't know.
Please don't answer SummerSlam '98 Jeff Jarrett versus X-Pac.
Who's never lost their hair? That's a good one. Who'd be? Because everyone with long hair eventually cuts it, don't they? There's no one with like long hair who's still got long hair.
Greg the Hammer Valentine still has his hair.
All right, so Greg Valentine. Who else? Like it was known for having long hair?
Right,
Michael Hayes.
Bret Hart. Did Bret Hart ever?
Bret Hart never lost it. I would tell you what though, Greg Valentine and Michael Hayes. That would be a good one because I don't think either of those guys. I think neither of those guys have ever had short hair.
A technicality of Michael Hayes. The plane ride from hell. He sort of got like, I think, a little swig of his hair cut a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. The plane ride from anybody knows that was in 2002. The WWE had this plane ride, and it was just the debauchery. You think Motley Crue was bad? Just look up the plane ride from hell. I can't even repeat some of the things that happened on that, but yeah, Michael Hayes would count as one of the other names I think that never really lost his hair.
Who else? That's the thing with like wrestling. So often in wrestling, someone's got long hair. They tend to. I suppose Rob Van Dam's never lost his hair, has he? So Rob Van Dam, and I'm trying to think. It's like
Rob Van Dam's a very good one.
Yeah, because like a lot of guys, like Triple H has lost his has shaved his head. Shawn Michaels has shaved his head. Undertaker shaved his head at some point. Everyone like who's renowned for having long hair, eventually they cut it. I suppose did Tito Santana ever cut his hair?
What was that?
Did Tito Santana or Rick Martel ever cut their hair? That would have been a great payoff to the Strike Force.
I think Tito Santana did, because I want to say early WWF Tito Santana had long hair. I want to say at least somewhat of a long hair look. So I think Tito Santana definitely would have been somebody who had his hair cut. Rick Martel's a good one. Oh, I have one, obviously. I can't believe I didn't even bring it up because unfortunately he passed away. Scott Hall.
Yes, he never cut his hair, did he? That would have been a good one.
He's had the mullet.
Honky Tonk Man. Now, Honky Tonk Man, that would have been fantastic. Honky Tonk Man having to have his Elvis do shaved off. That would have been great.
Speaking of people who have long hair, also not quite wrestlers, but they would sort of fit in. Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart looks the same as like 40 years ago. I mean, he's like, what? He's going to do what, 800? I mean, he's got the same look still.
So, I mean, I'll tell you what, though, like, I know you made a remark about Nate Reese's hairline, which is most unfair, Reverend.
Well, Stephen Cross and I had a few good laughs at that on Friday's show, so we did have.
But like I just think of like any of those people or any of those four wrestlers having to have their hair cut. Like, I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine Tonga having to do it, or Kelly, or even Bob having to
Kelly
have his
Van
hair
Ness
cut.
might be able to pull off the Demi Moore G.I. Jane look if she has it bald.
She'd have a better chance than most. I mean, Bob's got luscious blonde hair. Can you imagine if he had that?
You want to hear my Bob Costin comment? So my Bob Costin hair reference, and Stephen Cross appreciated this, and he chuckled because he's obviously pulling for one of the 4 participants to have their head shaved, and it's not Wildfire Nate Reese. And Bob Costin's hair reminds me of like 2003 peroxide Kevin Nash blonde hair dye right before it was going to his hair cut for a movie. So for whatever reason, Bob Costin's got the 43-year-old trucker hair look right now. So that's my Bob Costin reference on that. So.
I've always loved Bob Costin's hair. It's majestic. So I'd be very sad if Bob's hair were to go. But I'd be sad. I'll be honest. It's going to be whoever loses their hair. It's going to be a very historic moment in the LWF. And like I say, that match is going to have incredible crowd response because they're going to, every near fall, someone could be losing their hair. You know, I remember like one of my favorite matches is Edge and Kurt Angle.
We referenced that. We referenced
2002.
We referenced it on Friday's show. Yep, Edge and Kurt Angle. We referenced
and especially because Edge is in there, and he's a very Edge still is, but back then he was a very handsome man. And all the women freaking out every time it looks like Edge is going to get pinned because it's like, oh no, Edge is going to lose his hair. Ricky Morton, that's another. Ricky Morton losing his hair. Bloody hell. Can you imagine that? That'd be riots if Ricky Morton had to lose his hair.
Mr. Perfect, I have to mention, also long hair.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Mr. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine, like, Ricky Morton losing a hair match and, like, women storming the ring to try and make sure it doesn't happen? Oh. Sonata from New Japan, him losing his hair. Oh, that would be the riots again. Tanahashi. Oh.
Boy, Alan, thanks for the great question, because now you made me think of every person I could think of that had long hair and didn't get their hair cut. But I mean, this again, somebody has to get their hair cut. Now, I know you're going to plead the fifth and not tell us who you think, but something tells me I'm going to go on a limb here and say it's either going to be one of 2 people. And it's not going to be who you think. Wildfire Nate Reese is too easy because he doesn't have any hair really on the head. So that's not who I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be either Tonga or Bob Costin because something tells me it's either going to be one of 2 extremes. Tonga, because something tells me Tonga gets distracted here, and for whatever reason, she goes off a step, and Kelly Van Ness gets the pin. Or Bob Costin, something happens. So it's either going to be one of those 2 participants, from my opinion, that's going to get their head shaved here. Again, you don't have to answer it, but Wildfire Nate Reese is too easy. It's too easy.
I hope Nate Reese is that. I bet Nate Reese is hoping that's the case. You know, it all depends who's going to work better as a team.
Well, I guess in one sense,
because you know Nate Reese is saying that Tonga's his bestie, but we do know that like Kelly Van Ness and Bob Costin have teamed before, and they are good friends. So they're gonna have the greater chemistry. But who knows? It's pro wrestling, isn't it?
Listen, I will say one thing about Wildfire Nate Reese. Maybe it won't be him because, well, if he shaves his head, unlike the other participants, I don't think it's ever growing back.
Oh, it's double jeopardy for Nate Reese.
So
you see, the thing is, like, Nate Reese is your friend, and you're the one being all mean about it. Nate Reese doesn't even like me, and I'm standing up for him.
Transparent, I don't think it was the last show, but it was the show we did 2 shows back. I said the same things to him, and he kind of he took it. I mean, so I have to say,
all right, fair enough.
So I think
you should be nicer to Nate Reese.
No, in all seriousness, I love Wildfire Nate Reese, and I want to actually give him a huge shout out because the bump that he took at Odyssey Pro Wrestling's War on the Shore against the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera, I'm very, very curious to see how he holds up in this match because he certainly took one for the ages. I mean, I'm happy he got the pin, but he certainly took a bump on the stage that we're going to remember for quite a bit. So, in all seriousness, as always, shout out to Wildfire Nate Reese. You can follow him as always on Instagram _Reese. And he's watching. He may not be watching right now at this moment, but I know that he's going to be watching him. We are speaking with, of course, our very dear friend, Mr. Mikey Fitzgerald, and he is the heart and soul of the LWF. And I want everybody also to follow Mikey Fitzgerald for all the great things that he does here on Instagram as well, because I can assure you that when you see all the things that are going on here in the LWF, Mikey Fitzgerald, he definitely plays a very big role for that. And you can follow him on Instagram. You can do so by doing so at that Mike Fitz 1878. That's that Mike Fitz 1878. You also want to follow him on Twitter as well. You can do so very easily on Twitter. You can do that by going to, again, at Mike Lovejoy Fitz. That's Mike Lovejoy Fitz here on Twitter. So you have that Mike Fitz 1878. Mike Lovejoy Fitz also on Twitter. Also the LWF's page. Also please follow them. LWF Twitter. The LWF Wrestling on Instagram. LWF on YouTube. Subscribe to. Also LWF Television is the YouTube page. Facebook, also like the page. So many great ways that you can get in touch and buy a ticket to Slamaganza this Saturday. The doors open 18 p.m. British Standard Time. First match 18:30 British Standard Time, which is 6:30 here for those in the States, 6 o'clock as well. And there is so many matches here we still have to get through here. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. If you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, you can give us a like on Facebook at Sportswire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content here on sportnarium.com/player. We're speaking all things related here to the LWF with, of course, Mikey Fitzgerald, the heart and soul, is going to be on the call here for Saturday's big event. And I want to go over to the Castle Cup semifinals here because we have two matches, and I'll get to Stephen Cross in a little while, but I want to get to the first one here because this one I find really, really intriguing, and it's obviously two members of Shining Wizard are going to be in it, and as the first one, that is obviously Clash, who Clash obviously scored a huge win against Balachius, and he's going to be in action against the man who's the defending Castle Cup champion. That is Nick Cutter, and what an interesting dynamic here. Of course, Nick Cutter tries to be the first ever repeat Castle Cup champion. He has interjected himself. He voluntarily puts himself into the tournament, and to me, I couldn't tell you who'd win here because I can legitimately give you a reason for both of these to win here. It's Shining Wizard and the Wrecking Crew squaring off here. Once again, it has obviously been the perpetual feud here at the LWF when it comes to groups over the past several months. And Mikey Fitz, I mean, what do you think here? I mean, Clash has got the size, but Nick Cutter's got the experience, and he's got the motivation. And give us your thoughts here, what we can expect coming out here for those who are going to come out to Clorley and see here between Clash and Nick Cutter, semifinals, Castle Cup tournament.
Well, I think it's one of those sort of style battles, isn't it? Because Clash is more of a fighter, more of a brawler. Nick Cutter's more of a traditional sort of pro wrestler, likes to use holds and, work from that. And he's, obviously he's a nefarious man, so he's not going to be above using any underhanded tactics. So I think it's actually going to be a really interesting battle of styles. I think Clash is really trying to, the dream for Shining Wizard, obviously, is they want it to be an all Shining Wizard final. They want a Clash versus Aton Steen final, which I think would be a great match. And I know the fans would enjoy it. Nick Cutter, as you say, he wants to regain that trophy, wants to keep the cup, the first person to ever do so. I think, in this match, let's not beat around the bush. Nick Cutter's the favourite. Nick Cutter is, as you say, he's been to the dance before. He's won the Castle Cup. Clash has mostly worked in tag teams with Big Ron and Aton Steen, but he has impressed. He has impressed. I thought his victory against Balachius, he weathered the tide.
Big win.
Big win. Managed to win by count out. The crowd were, gave that a big ovation. They were proud of Clash for coming out the other side of that. So Clash has got momentum on his side. And I think, this time last year, I think you would have said, right, well, this would be an easy Nick Cutter win because Clash was still finding his feet, was still more of a tag team competitor. Since then, Clash has had more experience in the singles ranks. He's also really come into his own. He's picked up some big wins. I think that this is going to be a lot closer than some others might think. I think Clash has got a chance here. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to win. I mean, Nick Cutter might still, advance. But if Clash does win, I'm not going to be shocked because he's worked really hard and he's worked on his game. And I think he'll come in ready. And all I'll say about Clash is I hope Clash doesn't just expand so much energy trying to beat Nick Cutter that he's then bushed by the time the final comes along. So, he's going to have to. Nick Cutter is, because he's more used. Nick Cutter's been there before. He's been in the tournament. Last year, he faced Jack Roberts in the final after facing Christo in the semi-final. So he knows what it's like to wrestle more than once in the same night. He's got tournament experience, should we say. But I think Clash is going to give him run for his money. I think, it wouldn't shock me if Clash won.
Let me ask you twofold question on that. So the first fold here is the Nick Cutter. Is his strength going to be that the longer this match goes, because of his endurance and his quickness, that he can outlast Clash? And the other fold to that is, which might be an advantage to Clash, is the pressure surely on Nick Cutter? Because remember, Nick Cutter wants another crack at the World Championship. The Wrecking Crew doesn't have that gold. That was Nick Cutter's sole focus in terms of reshaping the Wrecking Crew, was to get the gold, was to get that World Championship. He failed. He was on the show, and he spoke about the fact that he failed against Reynaldo. So I would have to think the pressure is just immense on Nick Cutter to win this and to get another crack at that championship. So twofold question here. For Nick Cutter, is advantage here longer this match goes? He's just going to be able to outlast Clash. And then conversely for Clash, pressure being on Nick Cutter could be advantage Clash. Give me your thoughts on both that.
I think they're both very valid points. I think even Clash would tell you that Nick's probably in better cardiovascular condition than he is. Clash's whole thing is he likes to go into the ring, swing for the fences, and then afterwards he goes to the bar and gets a pint. That's kind of his thing. Whereas Nick Cutter, he is more of a traditional athlete. So yeah, if it does go longer, it is going to favor Nick Cutter. There's I believe the semi-final, the quarterfinals had a 15-minute time limit, and now these semi-finals are going to have a 30-minute time limit. So Nick Cutter has a lot of time to work with if he wants to try and extend Clash in order to wear him down. But at the same time, I don't think Nick's going to want to do that either. I think in a tournament, you kind of want to win as quickly as possible whilst exuding as little energy as possible, because you've got another match coming up later. As far as the pressure on Nick Cutter, yeah, definitely. This is a clutch situation for Nick Cutter. He didn't win the title at Fight Before Christmas, and he didn't become number contender in February. So, this is his. He, as you say, he wants to be going after the LWF title, regardless of who the champion is. He's got to win this. He's got to retain that cup. So there is going to be a lot of pressure on him. I think that might be the difference. I think Nick's superior conditioning might be the difference. I think most people will say that Nick Cutter's the favorite, but again, if Clash were to win, I wouldn't be shocked. It would be, I think, an upset, but not a gigantic one. So
yeah,
I think you make good points.
I think it's an upset, but I don't think it's a massive, massive upset. I think that, listen, Clash has certainly proven that he can hang. So it's not to me as if, okay, Clash wins this match and it would be the biggest shock in the world. I mean, certainly, look, Cutter's going to be favored. Cutter's obviously going to be the guy that a lot of people are counting on to win the Castle Cup. And, well, certainly the Wrecking Crew, obviously, because the Wrecking Crew want world domination, at least in the LWF. But I wouldn't just count Clash out yet. I mean, I think Cutter may have a little bit of an edge because he's been in this spot and he's the champion, quote unquote, technically as the Castle Cup tournament winner from the last one. But I can't fully count Clash out. That's what I feel.
Yeah, and I think, I guess if we ultimately, if you want to see how this is going to go, you're going to have to be there on the 16th of April, aren't you? At Chorley Town Hall at Slamaganza 3 to see how it's going to go.
Well, I would love to be at the Chorley Town Hall. If there's a way I can get there, I mean, certainly, can I tell a time and get there? I don't know how I'm going to pull it off, but I guess we'll have to figure it out.
I mean, we'll have to find. Is teleportation a thing? Is that something we can use? We do need to get you to one of these shows eventually. I know the people of Chorley are looking forward to meeting you, Mr. Bryce.
You really think you're looking to meet me? Something tells me I'm not so sure.
Oh, I think if we have a table saying autographs with Reverend Tom and Bryce, it'll be around the corner. There'll be literally tens of people waiting to meet you.
I would have to pay. I think I would have to pay people to actually want me to give them their autograph. That's probably what's going to have to happen.
I think you're going to need to have some glossy 8x10s made up so you can sell them at the merch table.
Well, I'm used to signing things because one of my minor day jobs is I'm a what's called a notary public in New York. So I guess I might be used to signing things, I'm certainly not used to giving things out for free. So we'll certainly see what happens. But obviously, we'll keep an eye on that. But I want to go over to the other Castle Cup match, and we spoke quite a bit about this because obviously this person is very, very close to us here on Sportswire Radio, and that is the Asset Stephen Cross, who I've gone on the record here, Mikey Fitz. I think he's the dark horse in this tournament because I look at the shape that he's in. I look at the run that he's been on here the past several months, the match that he had with Jack Roberts, last minute, the match that he had with Lachlan Sharp, 2 out of 3 falls, taking him to the limit. I look at obviously what he did as being a member, quote unquote, for the day for the Wrecking Crew. And obviously his last match with a victory over the mysterious Mr. B. And he's going to be in the ring with Eitan Steen, also of Shining Wizard. And certainly Shining Wizard are hoping it's going to be an all Shining Wizard Castle Cup final here. But I really think, and I'm not being biased because I've gotten a chance to see some of his matches and see some of his footage, but I think right now the dark horse of this tournament is the Asset Stephen Cross. And right now, he might be the guy of all these 4 participants that just might be the guy that you don't know what to expect, and he very well might be the most dangerous. So give me your thoughts here on Eitan Steen, of course, who is no stranger to the show also, and the Asset Stephen Cross, and what your thoughts will happen here in the Castle Cup semifinals match here as well.
I think you make a good point about Steve Cross. He definitely is the dark horse here. I think that he made the most of the situation last month by getting his very impressive win over mysterious Mr. B. And now he's got every chance of going all the way and winning this. You know, Eitan Steen, he actually closed out the show marching on the top of March. He actually was the main event against Cam Solis, and they had a fantastic match. And Eitan Steen eventually ended up picking up the win. So he's got momentum on his side. I think, you know, for Steve Cross, he's got some added motivation because I know that he's not entirely thrilled with the Wrecking Crew after what happened back in December.
Yeah, it's been a very polarizing, I guess, relationship, quote unquote.
I think he'd be, you know, I think what would suit Steve Cross would be for Nick Cutter to make the final, and then for Steve Cross to then go on to beat Nick Cutter and make a point. But he's got to go through Eitan Steen
that
first.
Same question. Certainly, you stole my thunder because there's a part of the Asset Stephen Cross that he wants Nick Cutter because he wants to prove a point.
It'd be a great match too, as well. It'd be
Absolutely.
a fantastic match.
Absolutely.
I think they match up very well stylistically, so I reckon that'd be a really good contest. But then again, I think any of the other, I mean, there's intrigue to every potential final, which I think is good when you have a tournament. I think you don't want there to be a final where you're like, oh, you know, like, you know, basically any combination of these 4 guys is a fascinating combination as far as I'm concerned, because literally any 4 of them could win it, and every different combination will mean a different sort of match. You know, if it's if Clash can say make it to the final, then he fights Steve Cross. Clash is going to be coming out swinging because he knows that his gas tank will be getting low and he's going to want to win it as quickly as possible. If, say, it's Nick Cutter and Steve Cross, it's going to be quite cagey, I reckon. They're both going to try, and, you know, because there is no time limit, by the way, in the final. The final is 1-4 to a finish. So they will wrestle. Whoever's in the final will wrestle until we get a finish. So I'm aware like that might mean it might go on.
And
for
how
a
about
while.
even Eitan Steen and Nick Cutter? They don't like each other. That's
no.
one.
And that's going to be an intense one, yeah. So like there's lots of different intriguing sort of combinations of guys. And like I say, there's no time limit. So they're going to go as long as they need to go. It could go, you know, it could go 5 seconds or it could go 50 minutes. You know, you don't know how long it's going to go. It's going to be until we get ourselves a winner. So I think that's going to be probably the most intriguing part about it. And Steve Cross he's the dark horse. He could go all the way. I think, you know, most people would say probably after 4. Most would probably say Nick Cutter's the favorite, but any of the 4 can do it. And that's why you want to be there, because that's why on the 16th of April you want to be at Chorley Town Hall to see Slamaganza 3 to see which of these 4 fantastic wrestlers will win the Castle Cup.
And absolutely, listen, Chorley Town Hall, you definitely want to be there. Very, very affordable. If you're a family, it's only going to cost you £26. So you're a family of 4, family of 5. I mean, I could not think of a more affordable ticket than this. I mean, listen, if you're going to go see the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, you're going to spend a lot more than that. But you can go to Shorely and get a great, much more family-friendly event and have a lot more fun and meet several wrestlers and listen, see some championship-like action. And I think no question, again, here, when it comes to the Castle Cup, you've got 4 outstanding competitors. And obviously 3 of them have been on the show here. And I could certainly, like you, make a case for all 4 of them that could win this and how big it would be for their careers. Obviously, Nick Cutter wants to get back to the mountain, wants another shot at that championship. Clash looking to prove himself as a singles competitor. Obviously, Eitan Steen, who's been, I mean, he is almost like the Jeff Hardy of the LWF, where he has big spot after big spot, and this could kind of be that moment where he transitions now to legitimate main eventer. And the asset Stephen Cross, we asked him this question, and he said this is the biggest match of his career upcoming against Eitan Steen. This is really where he can now transition, where he's had a young career, he's had only a little bit of experience here in the LWF, and all of a sudden, what we've known about him these past several months, the entire LWF audience, whether they like him or not, is going to have to respect him if he's able to find a way here and get a victory. And speaking of the Wrecking Crew, and obviously we're going to have another championship match here, and again, another intriguing match here. I mean, these 4 participants, or 4 tag teams, as you might want to say, they've kind of been intertwined these past few months as 2022 is basically now evolved here, and that is obviously for the tag team championship match that involves our current champions, the Wrecking Crew, of course, Davey Getsky and Chris Stone. And Davey Getsky is always on like all of our streams, and Davey Getsky, while he may admit it or not, is definitely a fan of these because he's always commenting one way or another, and I'm sure we're going to hear about him here in a few minutes. I'm sure something tells me Davey Getsky will interject himself here, and of course, Chris Stone, who's just transformed himself, also guys in phenomenal shape. And also, we have here 3 other participants who certainly know their way around each other. That is, of course, the Models, the Merseyside Mercenary Squad, who we spoke about a little while ago, and of course, Synergy. I mean, Synergy are everywhere. Synergy have been obviously no strangers to the show. So, Mikey Fitz, I mean, this is, again, an intriguing match here. This might be the most explosive match, literally, tag team championship match. Current champions, Wrecking Crew, the Models, Synergy, Merseyside Mercenary Squad. Who comes away here, you think?
I mean, this is the one where it's like, we've got this is like, there goes the neighborhood. That's this one, isn't it? Like, that is what this match is. You got that much. You got a lot of meat in there. You got a lot of beef. I can't wait. It's great. As far as I'm aware, everyone can all get involved all at the same time, so it's going to be absolute anarchy. You've got 4 fantastic teams. All 4 of them would be strong LWF tag team champions. You've got the Models coming back in. Let's not forget that there was an 8-man tag team match back in February, I believe, at Lancashire Riot, where the Wrecking Crew walked out on the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. They abandoned them, and that led to Synergy seemingly getting the win until the Models stole the pin. So there is animosity between all 4 teams, and we found out in the last show, in fact, Synergy were the team who laid down the challenge. They said, let's all 4 of us get in this ring and let's have a tag team title match. And we all thought, oh, well, the Wrecking Crew obviously aren't going to want any of this. But surprisingly, they said yes. The Wrecking Crew said yes, they were up for it because they thought they'd have the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. They'd be able to pay them off to watch their backs. However, it now seems like the Merseyside Mercenary Squad are out of the Wrecking Crew's price range. So they're going to be going after those belts themselves. So it's ended up hitting the Wrecking Crew in the face. So this could go either way now. Out of all those teams, like I say, any one of them would be a worthy winner. Any one of them would be a worthy pair of champions. So I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. I can't call it. I don't know. All I know is it's going to be, just anarchy in that ring of those 8 guys going at it, and it's going to be really exciting. And at the minute that match was announced, I was so excited, and I can't wait to see it. They're going to go heck for leather. It's going to be great.
Let me ask you a question, and I know it's hard to predict a winner, but let me phrase it in a different way. If there was one team right now that had the momentum, would it be the Mercenary Squad, just because of their recent actions, if I were to say of these 4 teams right now, and I know the Wrecking Crew, obviously Getski and Stone, I'm sure will listen to this, but they are the champions. But if you were to make a case right now of any of these 4 teams, in your opinion, who has the most momentum?
Well, on the last show, marching on, 12th of March, available on Power 4 TV, we saw Dan Evans pin the LWF champion,
Exactly
Reynaldo.
my point. Just made my point.
Dan Evans, he's already made it clear to Steve Bibby that he wants a shot at the LWF singles title. So we could be in a situation soon where Dan Evans is not only the LWF tag team champion if he wins at Slamaganza, but one half the tag champions. He could also be the LWF singles champion as well. He could have there could be a lot of gold in the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. I think, it's going to be Dan Evans and Scott Oberman are going to be the 2 Merseyside Mercenary Squad members. They have the free bird rule, so they can be anyone who shows up. So, they're the team I'd say you probably haven't met. But let's not forget that the Wrecking Crew, they won the titles back in January. They defeated the Blazing Guns back in March. And in February, the Models and Synergy were on the winning side of an 8-man tag. So all 4 of these teams have had victories in recent memory. So that's going to make it even more, exciting when they get in there. Like I say, it's the toughest one to call. If you put me on the spot, I'd say the team with the most momentum right now are the Merseyside Mercenary Squad, so I'd probably inch towards them. Also, Scott Oberman is my fellow Evertonian, so I'll always wish him well. But we'll see what happens. It wouldn't shock me if any of those 4 teams won. They're all more than capable of winning, and they'll all be more than capable of being great tag team champions. So, again, 16th of April, Chorley Town Hall, Slamaganza 3, Fatal 4-Way for the tag team titles. You're going to want to see that. That's going to be, I think as the cool kids say, it's going to be really epic.
Oh, it's going to be an epic match. And again, listen.
An epic battle.
You got to give the Wrecking Crew still some credit because obviously they have been very dominant in their run here as tag team champions. Of course, the first ever LWF tag team champions. So you have to still give them credit until the champs are beaten. You can't count the champs out. You can't bet against the champs. And certainly the run that Getski and Stone have been on, it's been very, very impressive here over these past several months. So there's no question that you have to like their chances. But again, you got some great teams in here. The Models, Synergy have been no stranger to the show. Synergy are everywhere. Obviously, Dan Evans we spoke about here quite a bit, obviously. So there's a lot to like here. And we are speaking all things related here to the world of the LWF for about 25 minutes or so with Mikey Fitzgerald, the heart and soul of the LWF, who's going to be on the call here for the LWF's upcoming Slamaganza event. And like I said, forget about WrestleMania, forget about Double or Nothing, forget about all these wrestling events you hear about. This is the event and I'm most excited for here coming up this Saturday in Chorley. And of course, tickets are still available. You can obviously, doors open at 6 o'clock UK time. 6:30 is when the bell rings for the first match. And for a family, £26 only. So, I mean, what deal are you going to find that's better than that? And you can follow the LWF on Instagram at the LWF Wrestling, also LWF on Twitter. Also, make sure you follow the LWF training facility as well for all the great things the Academy is doing. And also want to break it here. Tomorrow we'll be back also on I think around 8 o'clock UK time, we'll have on Lucy Simons from Odyssey Pro Wrestling and KOW. We'll recap the War on the Shore event, which had some LWF talent there, obviously, like the likes of Wildfire, Nate Reese, and much more. And we'll also be speaking with her about KOW and their upcoming event next month. So always excited to hear from Lucy Simons, reporter, writer, backstage interviewer for KOW and Odyssey Pro Wrestling. You can follow her on Twitter at Cesaro Stan and Lucy Simons 01 on Instagram. And we're going to break it here also right afterwards. We are going to have the general manager for Bolton Town Wrestling, Mr. Lucas Johnson, because they've got a big event upcoming also in their own right that we are going to have a lot to talk about here. Also going to see some LWF talent that's going to be appearing for that. So really excited for that as well. That's going to be next Friday. So first, we got the main event with the LWF Slamaganza. But then next Friday, tomorrow night, we speak with General Manager Lucas Johnson, and we speak about the gold rush for Bolton Town Wrestling. And a lot of people that you know from the LWF, Keenan from the LWF in the past is going to be there. Also, Eitan Steen's going to be in action. Helena Razor's been a part of it. A lot of great people from the LWF are going to be there from Bolton Town Wrestling. So I want to make sure everybody follows Bolton Town Wrestling on Instagram at Bolton Town Wrestling, and keep up to date with all the great things that company is doing. I'm looking forward to, for the first time, speaking with Lucas Johnson. Very, very excited about that. So really, really excited here. And we are talking all things related here to the world of the LWF with Mikey Fitzgerald here. And I got to ask you, because we're going to bring him on next Friday also. And do you have a thought or two on the scenario Nathan Gunn? Because we were supposed to have him on last week, but we're bringing him back on here this Friday. And I don't know if he's hit a wall or not, but something tells me here that the scenario Nathan Gunn is going to have something to say this Friday. And you have any thoughts on what it could be, or anything else on the scenario Nathan Gunn that you may want to share for us?
Well, I can say that both Nathan Gunn and Conrad Blaze will be at Slamaganza. Yes. I don't know if I've jumped on Nathan Gunn's. I don't know if I've jumped the gun. See what I did there? That's one of them there puns I've heard so much about. But no, they're going to be there. Nathan Gunn has assured me that he will be there with Conrad, so we'll see what they're going to be up to. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Actually, they're a good pair. I like them both. I know, they had a very brave, very, very good effort in trying to win the tag team titles on the 12th of March. It didn't work out for them, but they shouldn't be too down about it, because I think they entered a really strong performance, and that won't be the last time I think we'll ever see the Blazing Guns getting a tag title shot. So they're going to be at Slamaganza. Don't know what they're going to do. Maybe that's what Nathan's going to talk about on Friday. Maybe Nathan's going to say what they're going to do when they're going to be at the show.
Well, he said he had something big to say. He did say that he had something to say. So I'm assuming it's going to be big. Obviously, you've kind of broke the news that he will be in the house along with Conrad Blaze. So certainly we know that Billy and Bart aren't too far away. So we certainly know that there is going to be no other party than the one that the scenario Nathan Gunn brings. So certainly I'm assuming then that's going to be a big announcement. We'll see Friday night. I guess Friday night will be another action-packed day here.
Just to mention as well, we've not mentioned her yet, but LWF Women's Champion Jenny B will also be at Slamaganza. Steve Bibby is going to be announcing something to do with that this week, I believe. So keep a lookout to social media, keep your ear to the ground, and you'll know what's going on with that. But yes, Jenny B and her partner, Aurora Tevez, B&T, they will both be at Slamaganza. So, and I believe Steve Bibby's got something in mind. So keep an eye out on social media. Steve Bibby's going to let everyone know what's going on there. So I believe originally there were plans to have Jenny B involved in some sort of match with Lana Austin. Unfortunately, Lana Austin will not be available for Slamaganza, but we wish her all the best. But Steve Bibby's got something in mind, so you never know what he's going to think of. So keep your ears to the ground and see what happens.
Steve Bibby, certainly our owner, and certainly our Vince McMahon of the LWF, we certainly have no idea what he's going to pull out there. But something tells me by the time we're back on the air speaking LWF on Friday's show that we may have some announcement. Obviously, we'll stay tuned. Obviously, like everybody else, we'll certainly wait with deep anxiousness and anxiety to see what it'll be. Obviously, certainly for the participants, we'll figure it out, obviously. And I'm sure when we have the Acid Stephen Cross, the scenario Nathan Gunn, and Wildfire Nate Reese, they will have a lot to say. But there is another match that, in a lot of ways, could also be a main event here that we haven't got a chance to speak about here, obviously, at the Trolley Town Hall here. And that's a match, I guess you'd say it's a grudge match here. And obviously, these two guys have a lot of beef, as you might have said in our previous match we discussed with each other. That is Lachlan Sharp and Rob Draken. Again, these are two of the more premier wrestlers around. Obviously, Lachlan Sharp, we spoke about here quite a bit in the past. And obviously, Lachlan Sharp is in this match rather than the Castle Cup tournament. Well, because of, you could say, the doing of Rob Draken. Again, this is a match that I don't say it often, but is literally a coin toss match, because these two, I mean, you could make a case for either one of these, and I'm sure that this is going to be, I mean, you thought that some of these other matches we spoke about are going to be heated. Something tells me, Mikey Fitz, especially after what happened at the Marching On event here last month in Buckshaw, that Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake, it's certainly going to be only big enough for one of them to be determined a winner after the end of this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rob Drake has. We've seen him on the past couple of shows now, and he's targeted Lachlan Sharp because he feels like he hasn't been treated with enough respect by the LWF. That Lachlan Sharp has been given opportunities that perhaps Rob Drake himself should have been given. And I want to point out that there's been no plan to overlook or disrespect Rob Drake in any way. We have a very, very stacked roster. And sometimes that means people don't get booked. That's no comment or attack or insult to anyone. It's just, yourself, Reverend. We have a very, very highly skilled roster full of really good people.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Speaking about
and spots are few and far between sometimes. So, there was never a slight intended to Rob Drake. I'm sure that in time, Rob Drake would have found a place on the show as well, just as everyone else does. He's jumped he's jumped forward in the queue by attacking Lachlan Sharp. He's cost Lachlan Sharp a chance of winning the Castle Cup. So now he's going to have to pay the piper, as they say. I'm with you. I think it's very hard to pick a winner. What I do know is I think it'll be a really good match. I think both men are really skilled in the ring. Lachlan Sharp has been impressing over in Future Shot Wrestling. He's, biting at the heels of Future Shot champion Damon Lee. He is someone who is not to be trifled with. And, Rob Drake comes from a wrestling family. His brother's over in America doing great things.
Yep.
So, it's two really highly skilled athletes going at it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great.
Let me ask you this question, and sort of a similar question in a way to the Castle Cup tournament. We were speaking about the 4 different participants here, but we've got a match here in Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake. And obviously Lachlan Sharp we spoke about because of his match against the Acid Stephen Cross, because of obviously J-Mac John McKinney and a last-minute injury there. And Lachlan Sharp is certainly somebody that the fans love, and he's certainly impressed many people throughout the entire professional wrestling scene here over the past several months. And we have Rob Drake, who's obviously, I guess, I hate to say it in a way, maybe living in the shadow of his brother, who's obviously had massive success, the success that all of us could only dream to, right? No matter where you are, right? So in a way, I actually think both of these participants in this match have something to prove. Obviously, Lachlan Sharp wants to prove that he is somebody that can be a contender for the LWF Championship, like he is in Future Shock Pro Wrestling. And then we have obviously Rob Drake, who's looking to prove that he's somebody that can stand on his own feet and not just his brother, because obviously we know his brother, we know his history, we know it speaks for itself. I mean, give me your thoughts on that. I actually think, in a way, both of these participants equally have something to prove.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing to remember about Rob Drake is he's very much his own man. He's not defined by who his brother is. He's defined by how good he is, and he is a tremendous competitor. And that is the most important thing about him. It's not, who he's related to. It's about what he can do between those ropes. And that is why Lachlan Sharp needs to be, very wary about the man he's getting in there with. Rob Drake has twice now, laid Lachlan Sharp out. Twice now he has caused Lachlan Sharp a heap of issues. So Lachlan Sharp will be coming in. He'll be under no false thoughts. He'll know what he has to do when he gets in there. I just think, again, you said it best. This could go either way, and I think that is. It's almost a cliche to say so, but really, what do you do with these? How else could you put it with these two guys? I think not only do they match up well stylistically, size-wise, they're pretty similar. I think they're both, they've both got different attitudes and different personalities, but they're both very skilled. And this is why you want to watch wrestling to begin with. This is why you want to watch sport to begin with. You want to see the best. Yesterday you got Liverpool and Manchester City going at it, and it's a great game because they're both so good. This is going to be a great match. It's going to be a great fight because of how talented both men are. This is what you want. This is what high class sport is all about. It's about getting these great athletes and putting them in there and seeing who comes out the better. So I can't wait to see it. I'm not even going to predict who's going to win because I honestly don't know. It could go either way.
Well, this is a match, honestly, between the two of them, between Rob Drake and Lachlan Sharp, that they're both you could make a case for. This is legitimately some matches you could say, hey, you know what? I could see who wins or who doesn't win. But in this case, you've got two very, very strong wrestlers that stand on their own here. So, I mean, this is clearly not a case where, okay, you know what? I could make the case much more for one wrestler over the other. So I'm in complete agreement with you. And certainly, again, Lachlan Sharp, we have a lot of respect for because of obviously his matches in the past and obviously his 2 out of 3 falls match against the Stephen Cross. And Rob Drake, again, he stands on his own, like you said, couldn't agree with you more. He stands on his own for what his ring work is. Not so much about his last name and who his brother James is, but what he's done also on our scene. So I think at the end of the day, you've got two great participants here. And again, these are reasons why. Just thinking about what a card we have. I can't stress this enough, Mikey Fitz. What a card we have. From there's no top to bottom here. They're all could be at the top. You all could make cases for these being main event matches, whether it was Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake just now, whether it was certainly our main event for the World Championship, Sona Durson and Reynaldo. Obviously, the hair versus hair match and the mixed tag match. I mean, that's going to be, again, maybe the most intriguing match. You've obviously also got the tag team championship match, the 4-way match between the models, the mercenary squad. You've obviously got the Wrecking Crew, the defending champions. You've got Synergy. Can never forget about Synergy. You've also got the Castle Cup matches. I mean, Eitan Cena and the Stephen Cross. Such an intriguing match. And then you've got Clash and Nick Cutter. I mean, these are really, really exciting matches here. I mean, again, from top, there's no top to bottom here. This is why you need to go out and follow the LWF on Twitter, LWF Dub, Instagram, the LWF Wrestling. Also, please follow Mikey Fitzgerald for all the great things that he is doing it, because I can assure you that he is going to be a big part of the call here for sure, a huge part of the card upcoming. That Mike Fitz, 1878. Mike Lovejoy Fitz, also on Twitter as well. So you have a whole number of socials here. And I want to ask you this question before we get to closing thoughts and talk about a few other things LWF related. But what is this going to be for anybody who's going to show up? You know, I always ask this question before I get closing thoughts from you and everybody else that comes on here. But for those who may be coming and those who are on the fence that, you know, might hear this, I might hear the clips on social media from the various wrestlers that we have here. What do you want to say to anybody that's coming Saturday night? Or what do you want to say to anybody that may or may not be coming, hasn't decided, but after hearing this, may make a decision?
I guess what I'll say is this is a stacked show. Like, every match has something going on, whether it's a backstory or a potential to be a really exciting bout. You know, it's Slamaganza 3. It is our WrestleMania event, and it's built like a WrestleMania event. There is no filler. It's all thriller. It's all thriller, no filler.
I think I think some 41 said all killer, no filler. I think that was one of their albums. I'm pretty sure this would be.
It's crisp and clean with no caffeine. So that is why you're going to want to come and see this show. If you've never been to the LWF show before, I'm sure you'll leave with a smile on your face, because we have a very loyal, very dedicated crowd who come to see our shows. Absolutely. Whenever people come and see one for the first time, we always have getting positive feedback. You know, we want what we want in the LWF is we want to entertain you. We want to make you happy. We want to give you something good that you can enjoy. We want to give you something that you can be proud of spending your money on or spending your time on. And I think this card, you know, we've had great cards in the past. This could be the greatest one we've ever done. Genuinely. Every match.
A lot because
every match is interesting.
I'm with you, but that's saying something, because every month I'm with you, I always feel like, man, the LWF gets better and better and better. So the fact that we're saying that, I mean, that says a lot. And to be fair, this card is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah. And we're in a very competitive part of the country. You know, you look at like the other companies around here. You mentioned Odyssey. Also companies like Future Shot Wrestling. You know, that there is a lot of really good wrestling in the northwest of England.
Talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
There is so much good wrestling in the northwest of England. So we know that. and we know we have to put on good shows as a result because we want to, we want everyone in the scene to do well.
Sure.
But we have to make sure that we can hold our own, and we can stand up and be counted amongst the other great companies in the area. And I think we do that. And I think this show is a great example of that. You look at that card again. That card, I just look at it and just think, wow, we've got so many good matches, like so many potentially interesting and fun, and we've got Lucha de Apuestas, which is different.
I'm glad you're saying that, not me.
We've got the 18. We got the 4 corner match for the tag titles, which is going to be wild anarchy. We've got the Castle Cup, which could be, no matter what the final is going to be, it's going to be an interesting final. We've got absolutely. Reynaldo and Sonny Durson, who are going to have a great classic world title bout. We've got oh God, have I gone through the whole card? I think I've gone through the whole card. We got our women's champions going to be there.
I mean, that's another one.
Rob Drake and Lachlan Sharp is going to be a fantastic. I reckon that's going to be a more sort of technical, more psychological battle, more scientific. Our women's champion Jenny B is going to be there. It's going to be. It's going. What was the phrase that Taz used to say? It's going to be a rocket buster, brother. It's going to be. It's gonna be a really great show, and you're gonna want to go. 16th of April, Chorley Town Hall. You're gonna want to come. If you can't be there, then please give us a watch on Powered 4 TV. Sign up there for some. You don't just get the LWF. You get Odyssey on there. You get a lot of other great wrestling on that platform. So give it a look.
Progress. You get Catch on there. You get BWRs on there. I think GT Ministries, I think, is on there. I know they stream on YouTube. We have a number of companies, I think, that are definitely on. I think KOW is getting on there. So, I mean, there are so many companies out there.
Just head over and have a look at the list of great companies they've got on there.
Bolton Town, I can't forget about Bolton Town. We have Lucas Jackson tomorrow. I cannot forget about Bolton Town. I mean, so there's a lot of great stuff out there. And also, we want to make sure we also subscribe to the LWF television on YouTube, because we have Monday Night Mutinies, which is going to debut. So we have a lot to look forward to there. Obviously, our academy is doing some great things. So many great things here at the LWF has to offer. Always excited to be speaking LWF, and it's a big week for us from Sportswire, like I said, because Mikey Fitz kicked it off, and tomorrow we have Lucy Simons from Odyssey and KOW, Lucas Jackson, the Bolton Town Wrestling General Manager. Then, of course, Thursday, it looks like we have the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera. He'll speak a lot about Wildfire Nate Reese. And Friday, we have our LWF takeover once again with the Scenario Nathan Gunn, the Asset Stephen Cross, and Wildfire Nate Reese. So for you, my friend, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything you want to plug, and if you can keep it brief, because I have to run to the bathroom soon. So I definitely, unfortunately, these are one of those. Normally I riff another 10 to 15 minutes, but I don't know how much longer I have. So I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts, and the floor is yours. And I can't thank you enough.
Well, out of respect for the Reverend's bladder, I'll just say, he's already read out my Instagram. I don't really post on it a lot, but I'll do more. I'll try and do more if I can. That's that Mike Fitz 1878. I might Lovejoy Fitz on Twitter, which I tend to use more. Want to follow the LWF television on YouTube, as Reverend mentioned. We got Mutiny, Monday Night Mutiny, which should be coming up again soon. I believe we've got another one in the can that's ready to go.
I've heard. I didn't want to spoil it because I've heard that there is another one in the can. I didn't want.
And you get to hear me doing the ring announcing. So, but don't let that put you off.
And,
please still watch it.
Certainly had a critique of the last one because he did mention Bob Costin. We watched Bob Costin's match and we critiqued it on the air. So. Yeah.
Well, Bob Costin's great. Bob Costin is the Costinator. He will be there on the 16th of April at Slamaganza.
I will say one thing about Bob Costin. I will not take away the fact that the fans do like Bob Costin. He certainly has a following.
How can you not like Bob Costin? He's the Costinator. Come on. But no, it's going to be great.
Well, to be fair, he called me a Nate Reese stooge. I mean, so if he wants to come back on, I wouldn't be calling people stooges. So I mean, that's all.
So what he's saying is like Nate Reese is Vincent McMahon and you're Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. Is that what he's saying basically?
I don't know about that, but I mean, I know one thing that certainly Bob Costin. I mean, we like Bob to an extent, but I mean, calling people stooges when certainly we control the mic wouldn't be the most wise move on his part, certainly. And I'll say one thing for Bob. I certainly know that Bob has a lot more on his mind than us because he's got to worry about hair versus hair match on Saturday. So,
well, I just want to say, as always, thank you very much to all the fine folk at Sportswire for having us on. It's always a big deal for us to get to get this level of coverage.
Big
shout
we
out.
love having you guys. We you know what? I get messages all the time from people that say, "Hey, what about the LWF and what about this one and that one?" I mean, people they may not tune in right away, but they check it out in all the social media channels. And we're on Roku now, so we get to play these on Roku now, and so we appreciate you guys. Everything. I actually on my Friday show, before we got off the air, I actually did a little montage, and I thanked you guys for your support over the past year and just giving us talent and allowing us to talk about you guys. So the feeling is mutual. Trust me. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like it sometimes, but I definitely appreciate everything that you guys have given us.
Great. It's great, and really, again, it's really appreciated by Sportswire. If you're not a regular listener to Sportswire, why aren't you a regular listener to Sportswire? Look at Reverend Tom Bryce right there. Look at him there. Look at him. Look how hard he works. Listen to his radio channel.
You know what? I was game faced today because I cut my neck while shaving. So really cut it deep. I've had a bad stomach ache the entire day. So I mean, it's certainly been one of those. But that's my fault because I had the Dunkin' Donuts.
I was going to say, been drinking hot dog cart water again. Is that the problem?
Well, no, it was my fault because I know not to have Dunkin' Donuts normally, but I had the Dunkin' Donuts old fashioned donut because it's a good donut, but I bought an extra one.
Do you know what I went to for the first time yesterday? I went to a Tim Hortons for the first time.
Well, Tim Hortons blows Dunkin' Donuts out of the water. Tim Hortons, it's like Dunkin'.
The apple cobbler, bloody hell.
I don't even know why I even had Dunkin' Donuts after having Tim Hortons. In fact, if you are a Tim Hortons a follower, I would recommend 3 things on the items: cookies, oatmeal raisin, chocolate chip, or peanut butter. Also, the cinnamon raisin bagel is pretty well, and of course, what they're most known for is the kettle chips. If you go to Tim Hortons, you got to have the kettle because the chips are like through the roof. They're like unbelievable. So Tim Hortons is like clean. Dunkin' Donuts is like that's why I have a stomachache all day. So that's just my. I even made my mother laugh. She heard that in the background. That tells you about Dunkin' Donuts, but that's why. But no, we were very game and anything for the LWF, and I also want to thank Steve Bibby again for his support. Obviously, it was an honor to have Mr. Bibby. I know Mr. Bibby obviously messages me from time to time, so I know the feeling is mutual. And looking forward to the next month. Hopefully next month, because we do this every month now at this point. My months aren't the same without you, so I got to make sure that we have you on back again. Next May is the next event. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm going to book you in. Yeah, well, our next event is on the 14th of May. So
we'll have you that Monday would put us at what the
9th.
The 10th? Okay, the 9th.
The 9th, yeah. So I will see you then. And we'll have a gay old time. That's the Flintstones theme.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was the Flintstones, right? That was the Flintstones when they really meant it was a happy old time. Yeah, that was the. I remember watching Flintstones. I don't know if you had it in America, but England. But in America, we had it on Cartoon Network. Did you guys have Cartoon Network?
Oh yeah, we had Cartoon Network. Yeah, and then like Cartoon Network would turn into like TNT after a certain point.
Yeah,
and then we get Nitro.
Yep. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, so that's how I would watch the Flintstones. Was on the old Cartoon Network. So that was those were the days. But
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera. So I think it still exists in some form or another. Hanna-Barbera, their production. At least I think. Unless I'm missing it, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. But
yabba dabba doo.
Well, I'll do the yabba dabba doo for the outro. I've drummed up enough strength.
Right.
But
well, I think we should go now so that you can empty your bladder. So
it's worse than that. But I will say this: I'm a trooper. Trust me. I have a story I can say off the air, but I can hang on for a couple of minutes because at this point, I'm not going to be Psycho Sid WrestleMania 13 when he was wrestling the Undertaker in the main event. That was one for the ages. But if you are on Sportswire Radio, I want to thank you for tuning in because we obviously have been always honored to continue to talk about all things related to the LWF. And if you are on sportnarium.com/player, actually in about 10 or so minutes, you will get an all-new episode from Glenn and Jeremy from the Piece of Business where they'll actually review NXT UK last week's show. So always looking forward to that. We get a partial UK show because, well, Glenn Abbott is from the UK and Jeremy is from the United States. So we get a partial UK show and they'll do an NXT UK recap here throughout the evening. And so we're looking forward to that. That'll be on here in about 10 or so minutes. If you are on our social media pages, we will be back here 8 p.m. British Standard Time with Lucy Simons, obviously KOW Odyssey Pro Wrestling reporter interview. We're looking forward to having Lucy. And then Right afterwards, we will have Bolton Town Wrestling General Manager Lucas Jackson. And excited about this one here because the Gold Rush is coming next Friday. It'll be a gold rush for Bolton Town Wrestling where we will see LWF talent alike. We will see the likes of, obviously, Shining Wizards, Aton Steen, Keenan in the past, who's been in the LWF. He'll be in action. He's the KOW Showcase champion. So a lot to see, a lot of crossover. So really, really excited to be speaking with Lucas Jackson. We'll also speak about, I'm sure, his nemesis, Jack Johnson, we've had on here in the past. So a lot to look forward to. I want to thank Lucas Jackson for giving us this opportunity here. But most importantly today, to kick off our week on Sportswire Radio, we were granted the wish to be with, once again, the heart and soul of the LWF. That is the commentator, the man who puts it all together. It is Mikey Fitzgerald. I cannot thank Mikey enough once again for getting us ready for Slamaganza, which is, again, this Saturday in Chorley at the Town Hall. The doors open 6 p.m. 6:30 is when the bells ring for the first match. Family, $26, 26 pounds only. Cannot go wrong with that. LWF on Twitter, the LWF Wrestling on Instagram, LWF Television on YouTube, also LWF on Facebook as well. That Mike Fitz, 1878. Mikey Lovejoy Fitz on Twitter as well. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you, everybody here, for watching once again as we were with Mikey Fitzgerald of the LWF.
Ta-da, Chuck.
Had to do it one more time. One more for the road, as they would say. If you would get, not that I'm a drinker, but they would say you have one more for the road if you were going to have another drink. So that was one more for the road, and we'll be back here live on Roku as well tomorrow. So thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you very much.
Listening. I am the host of Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Okay, so, and there.